All right. I'm just gonna stop it really quick. I'm gonna reduce the
Yes.
Twitch
Right?
just
Okay,
said yes.
gotcha.
Twitch and YouTube.
Hey, nerd, to another episode of the Spirited Nerds podcast, and we have a full house this week, which and I love spending time with my nerds. So,
Woo!
I, Shauna, am joined by David, Denise, and Mariah today. And get into what we're drinking, let's just take a minute here to tell you how you can love for us amongst all of your friends too. You can find us on our social medias. You can share, you can repost, you can give us leave us 5 stars, whatever you like. You can find us at The Spirited Nerds on most platforms. And because Mariah, she also will have us streaming live from time to time. So if you follow us on those channels, you will get updated on when you can follow us live, like right now,
Yep.
which is awesome. You want to add to that?
No, we're live. We need the support. We need the likes, the comments, the repost. We need to get 900 more followers so we can go live on TikTok. So we're on our way.
Not 900 more.
Oh no, 700 more. 700
There you
more.
go. That's a big difference.
Yeah.
It feels the same.
Come on. Come on.
We're trying. All right. Because we're trying so hard, I think that we probably all could use a drink. So, yeah, David, why don't you kick us off? What you got?
I have two drinks. I'm drinking a mix of that strawberry Rita Buzzball and a watermelon White Claw. And then because I figured that's going to be gone in like 15 minutes, I have a blood orange and cardamom can, which is like a cannabis infused drink. This is fucking amazing.
Hmm.
Yeah, so that's what I'm drinking.
And tell us why you are decked out in Eagles gear right now. For anybody
I
that
care.
can see
I care about you guys. I made a decision to be here tonight. I wasn't going to because the draft is going on right now,
Yes.
and we're up in what 4 picks. Will Anderson's gone, which fucking sucks, and I'm pretty sure Jalen Carter is going to be gone too. So
Okay.
you're gonna see me make some faces, and don't worry about it.
If we can see the face, because so far all I've seen is the top of your hat. But I know it's because you're looking down at your phone.
I am.
So, yes. Just wanted to give that.
So, I didn't realize we were live recording tonight, so I figured it wouldn't be a problem if I was looking down. But I love the Eagles more than whoever's on Twitch, so I'm going to be looking down. Which I'm sorry, guys, I don't know.
That's kind of topical because I actually have a Lord of the Rings related "Did you know?" around looking down, but I'm gonna save it. Let's finish off the drink list here.
So Mariah, you sent out that Lord of the Rings drink list. So from that list, I picked the Samwise because it sounds really good. It was the dark rum, vanilla schnapps, and Coke, but I couldn't find vanilla schnapps in time. So I just mixed it with Crown vanilla Crown. So I've got rum, vanilla Crown, and Coke.
Nice.
Yeah. Pretty tasty.
Tasting good?
Oh, yes. And a long time ago, Loot Crate gave us a an Elvish Lord of the Ring glass. Yes. So I'm drinking it out of this Lord of the Ring glass.
It's like when it turns cold, the things show up, right?
Well, so I guess mine is so old and just whatever, it constantly stays red. It's constantly showing. So there's no color magic to it anymore. And I have no idea what it says.
Yeah, it used to be like a golden color, but then once it got cold, it would change to red.
Yeah, mine's permanently red.
At some point in the movies, it's like a bunch of letters in a circle, and whatever those letters are, that's what's on the cup.
Oh, like
One ring, I'm sure.
Yeah, on the ring.
There you go. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what it is.
I don't know.
It's the
I'll tell you,
dark
I forgot
language
I
of the
even-
land of Mordor.
Forgot I even had it. I opened
One
because I drink
ring.
from it time to time. I opened it up. I said, "Hey, I recognize that writing.
That's amazing.
Here we go.
And your nails are cute.
Thank you very much." Not Lord of the Rings related at all, but thank you.
No. All right, Mariah, what do you got?
So I also made a drink from that list. I made the Aragorn. I said that right. And it's
Aragorn?
double vodka. Aragorn. And it's double vodka, blue curacao, and tropical juice. And I found this really awesome like castle cup,
Oh,
Look
wow.
at that. That's amazing. How's it taste?
and it's pretty good. Yeah, it's
Okay.
tasty.
That's great. I can't follow up these great drinks. I just have because we're potty training this week and I'm exhausted. There was no like excursion for fun drinks. So I'll just be drinking wine. But I was thinking if I were gonna theme it, we would all really should be smoking hobbit weed out of giant like pipes, all wizard
That
style.
old Toby.
That would be like a theme of the episode. But alas, red wine instead. Well, folks, if you haven't caught on yet, we are talking we are talking about the Fellowship of the Ring. Committing to all three movies from the top was going to be a lot for us. So starting with the Fellowship of the Ring. And to kind of level set here, I just kind of wanted to ask everybody what was your touch point for this the Ring, Lord of the Rings? What was your touch coming into? Have you seen it before? Have you read the books?
Nope. I know a lot of people who have watched the movies and read the books, so everything I know about the series has been through conversations with other people. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
The,
Mariah.
the only time I'd sat through and seen the whole thing was truly like 20 years ago. So it came out in 2001. So I was in 5th grade. And then in middle school, my neighbor was obsessed with Legolas, aka Orlando Bloom. And that's probably the only reason that I watched this movie, because my parents would never have watched this. And I don't have older siblings, so there would have been no reason for me really to, I guess, find this and watch this. And maybe I would have watched it later time in life. But I think watching it the few times with her was enough, and I never went back to it. Eric likes Lord of the Rings, my husband, so he's played it, and it's been on in the background, but I haven't sat through and watched it in a very long time.
you go,
No
Denise.
prior knowledge at all to me. No books, no movies, just like cultural references to the whole My Precious and Gollum. I knew what Gollum was, but other than that, no clue.
I was actually going to ask how many makes sense now that you've seen even just one of the movies.
The Sean Bean one, definitely. The one does not simply. That one definitely made sense. I had no idea what anybody was talking about when that was going around, so that made sense. If there were any other memes from it, I don't know. I just caught that one.
There were a lot of them. And I watched this thing, the drinking game thing you said. I was like, that's a lot of fucking memes. And I remember like 4 or 5 of them. But they all happened like 10, 15 years ago. So it's kind of hard to remember which ones,
There's like the one does not simply has the most staying power of all of the memes for sure.
Here lately, that Gandalf woman coming back where he was like, I'm not trying to hurt you, whatever, I'm trying to help you. I've seen that one a lot recently. But that's just because my Twitter, like every morning, my Twitter does this thing where I guess it's like an algorithm thing. I like watching little cute dog like memes and videos and stuff. So I see that one a lot with like dogs like playing fetch and shit. He's like, I'm not trying to steal from you, I'm trying to help you. Yeah.
Aw, that's amazing.
And Shauna, what kind of knowledge did you have coming into this?
Oh, jeez.
A lot.
Thank you, Mariah, for that.
Yes, I am today's nerd herder due to my extensive Lord of the Rings knowledge. I read books, like the Lord of the Rings books in right before the movies came out. So
Real quick, how old are these books?
the books
What?
came out
How
in
old are
like
these?
I think the books came out in the 50s.
Hmm.
Okay.
Around there. So they in the lifetime, like Christopher Lee, who plays Sauron, met J.R.R. Tolkien, kind of like post World War II ish. So they're modern, but there was all. I have a very vivid memory of when I was in grade 6. My grade 6 teacher was reading The Hobbit to us, and when he started describing Gollum, I kept having these very vivid flashbacks of Gollum's eyes, and I couldn't figure out why. And so, got older, I realized that I must have watched the 1978 animated version of The Lord of the Rings when I was very young, and then kind of repressed the memory until I was. So there was that. So I love the lore. I have all the books. I watched the movies.
1954.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
that's
just
kind
saw
of what
that.
I thought. Yeah, that's like
Yeah.
1954 sounds
And
right.
The
to me.
Hobbit was 1937. Ugh.
The Hobbit
God
came out
damn.
first.
Great.
And it started when J.R.R.
Okay.
Tolkien just wrote in a notebook, there was a in the ground. That's kind of how it all.
That explains why everybody was white.
In the ground. Did it get uncomfortably white at some point to you?
Didn't
Because
it?
there were times where I was like, especially with those elves, I said, listen,
I was like, there's a lot of different races here. Everybody can't be white. Like everybody,
it got kind of uncomfortable. It
except
felt
for the bad guys. The bad guys were kind of Jamaican, but everybody else is fucking white as shit. I was like, this is ridiculous.
You're 100% not wrong. There are definitely some race problems
Man.
within it. That intention of Tolkien, it is a result in the movies definitely of them filming everything in New Zealand, I'm sure. I'm sure that had a part of it, or was a part of it, but there definitely is some, like, there's definitely some race problems, and they tried to course correct it a little, and there was so much racist pushback, like just like the dwarves can't be black, and it was the stupidest fucking shit.
Yeah, I remember hearing about that.
Yeah.
Sean, we're not doing that to you. We're not making you answer for every white person ever. It was just something that
It was just something that I noticed and felt
Yeah.
as I was watching the movie.
But yeah, that's a valid critique of the film for sure, and the universe.
Oh, Shauna.
Hey, on the record that David is the one who suggested this movie, not me. So on
I
the
did.
record.
And also on the record, I suggested it because I figured we're getting to it at some point because you know so much about it. We'd be crazy not to talk about it. So,
And there's so much, like there's the Rings of Power, and there are Miramax, I think, and New Line have already announced that they're doing more Lord of the Rings properties. This is something that they are redoing, keeping the pop.
Isn't there like a cartoon coming or anime?
The anime,
Yeah.
David's posted an anime is coming. So this license, we're going to see a lot of this over the next few years. So I'm very excited. I'm super stoked.
I'm excited. You're excited.
So is it safe to assume that I'm also the only one who watched the extended version of the movies?
Yep,
You
100%.
Garen fucking to it.
It's like an
Cool.
extra
Cool.
hour.
It is.
And it's
is.
on HBO Max right next to
Yeah,
the
it
regular
is.
one.
I did
I
debate
said-
for a second. No, not happening.
You debated
back
for a
and
second
forth
longer
also.
than I did.
Yeah, but when you said 3-hour movie and it added I said, nope, we're gonna go original cut. This is the version that we're going with. So yes.
Is it worth it? Like, what more?
No,
Can't be.
there's no way it could have been.
It is a little bit. It is because
Got it.
there are some things that come up in the extended version that just add to the story, or I watch the extended version every time, and I have for the beginning is more extended. It's well done, and there's even more footage out there. So there many scenes that they filmed that didn't make even the extended versions. So there's even more footage out there that people are trying to be like, they're trying fans at it, where fans are like, it's all of it. We want to see
I don't want
all
that.
of it.
All 5 hours.
There's no way.
Yeah.
No way.
So much more. I would be so excited. All right.
Hmm.
Well, we talked a little bit about it, but what we're, with not the type of deep that I do, what were your impressions of the Fellowship of the Ring?
I
Giggling over there.
was like, who wants to take that first?
You.
All right. Mariah and I were talking before anybody came on. I didn't realize this movie came out in the 2000s. I thought this was a 90s movie. I do not understand why. And I can feel the hate. And anybody listening right now, I apologize. I don't mean to hate on this movie, but I don't like it. 91% on Rotten Tomatoes. I have no idea how. It's been added into like the top 100 greatest movies of American history, put in the Library of Congress and shit. I do not know how. This movie was not it. I don't get it. There were the visuals were not there, but it was effects at the Academy Awards. I don't understand why it got so many accolades and why it was seen such a great movie of its time.
Of its
Because
time.
Of its time and
Of its time.
2001.
Harry Potter came out in the same year. And those two movies, because I've seen the first one, these two movies side by side, you wouldn't even know they came out in the first year. Ghost fucking Busters came out in 1980, and we at least got laser streams from their proton packs. I got nothing from Wizards. I got nothing from Elves. I got no visual, nothing that made it feel like a fantasy movie visually to me from watching this movie. Every time I would look up every so often on the couch and be like, I'm watching a movie. Like it didn't keep me in it. And we'll get to it, but I do not like Gandalf. I called him Gantdolf. Like again, Gant. He was Gantdolf.
Jesus.
That was a rant. All right.
All right.
I
Mariah.
Like I said, I feel like the whole tagline of the movie, and I don't know if it's because I don't know. Was this a children's book?
Man, she is not gonna stop. She's gonna beat it.
Is it a children's book though? Because
The Hobbit was more kids. Lord of the Rings was more aimed at adults.
The tagline of this movie for me is "Where's Frodo?" You gave this man a ring, and a ring that he didn't want. He shouldn't have even had it. David, I'm sorry. You gave him this ring, and you send him out, and you say this ring will make or break the entire, like our entire world, our existence as we know it. And every time they looked up, he was gone. I just don't get it. Everyone was like, "Where's Frodo?" And he was off somewhere wishing he never got this ring. And I'm like, I feel like this was a very long book to say such a small lesson of you have a gift, use it. It could have been pared down. David, I'm done. I'll get into more. But
So
I don't.
That wasn't you. The Falcons just picked Bijan Robinson, so he's fucking gone.
Oh, he's gone. I'm sorry,
Oh.
but yeah,
okay. So is after watching it, are you inspired at all to watch the rest of the trilogy, the Hobbit movies, Rings of Power? Like, are you inspired?
Not for the reasons you think I am, because I think they will equally be as not great as this one. I just want to watch it for entertainment value at this point, but not
They're
entertained.
they're all different. They're all completely different generations of like filmmaking. That.
I don't know. I don't know if I trust.
Okay.
But we can go to somebody else and see what they think about it, because
David has a bit of a rebuttal or an add-on. I don't know, but David looks like he's going to explode if he doesn't say something.
And no, he's focused on the draft right now.
I promise you, I'm watching the draft. My bad. But I mean, I'll go ahead and. Sorry, the Eagles are on the clock now. Hey, Mariah, you go ahead and go.
Yeah.
What were your impressions?
I'll just say this.
The Fellowship of the Ring.
So I am I really can't sit through long movies anyways. I just don't have the attention span for it. So that is one reason why I really put off, like you guys said that we were doing this, watching it. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to have to spend my unwind time after work watching 3-hour movie. But I think watching it like now versus then, but then also watching Rings of Power, which I do really like. I mean, and I, like Denise said, it's just old, you know, it's old, like the visuals are, you know, they're just dated. And I think it's, and then you see all these awards and things that they won. And it's like, really? Like, even for the, I mean, I get it's for the time, but it doesn't really live up, I think, now. Like, it didn't age well, like, to what those awards it was given. And even just knowing, I know the basics of the, you know, the movie and the characters and things. So like Rings of Power is just beautiful. I mean, it's a totally different experience. And you don't even have to know anything about the movies to start that show. So comparing the two, I mean, it's just, I don't know, it's kind of lackluster of a movie, like compared to what's now. And, you know, maybe based on the words and things that it got, like I just don't see it.
Okay.
And I think too, like I get this, like, you know, maybe if I read the books or knew a little bit more, but it feels like the one movie, like maybe they could have finished the mission in the one movie. Like we didn't need the 2 and the 3, like, but
yeah, like I just found Mariah told me they don't drop the ring until the 3rd movie.
No, I told Eric, I said, aren't you supposed to throw the ring into that thing? And he was like, no, that's a lot later. I was like, oh, for some reason I thought that happened right away. Like
that's
so
the
that's
end.
Wait, so you guys thought, because the whole thing starts with he has to get the ring.
And he got it.
Yeah, and we got 3 hours in, and he still hasn't gotten the ring to the place.
But you knew
looking at the place he needed to go.
You knew there were 3 movies. What did you think he was going to do?
I don't know. I thought maybe the first one is the journey there. The second one is we got to the place and I dropped the ring, and then the third one is the journey back. Because the first movie, him getting all the way there.
Can I ask you a question?
I don't know.
Have you ever seen a movie about the hero's journey after it was complete? Doesn't that sound
Shrek 3?
Nobody remembers Shrek 3.
Everyone remembers Shrek 3.
I don't remember Shrek 3 is about.
Well, do you
is that the
Shrek
one
2?
where the king turned into a frog?
I'm about to say, is that the Frog King? I like. Is that what that one?
I feel like that one's Shrek 2.
Yeah, Shrek 3 is never.
We are getting off. Okay, so I enjoyed the movie. Here's the thing.
Go for it, David.
Did I sleep through the first half of it? Yes.
Yes.
I don't remember the first half of the movie, but
so that's why you thought it was good.
But no,
you only saw the action at the end.
The second part, everything after they leave Rivendell.
Mm-hmm.
God damn it! Everything
after
they leave.
You got this.
Yeah, because they get to the friendship door, and then they have like the battle, and then you know, there's a lot of things that happen that.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a 3-hour movie. I figured the first half is gonna be slow as fuck. That wasn't for us. That was for the people who read the books and like really wanted all of that shit.
Yeah.
I didn't want it. You guys didn't want it. Shauna probably fucking loves the first half of that movie.
There's so much extra footage.
Right. That's what they made it for. They made it for people like her. They didn't make that for people who were just going to sit down and say, okay, I'm ready to enjoy a movie. The second half, though, there were some missteps, but for the most part, it was a good movie. I understand where the story's going. I get the fantasy aspect of it. I think with the technology that they had, I mean, I got it. Like, you know, you want them to blow the budget, but I watched a lot of stuff on the backstory of this movie. These shouldn't have been made. Like, it's a miracle they got anything at all. I mean, like, I know Harvey Weinstein now isn't somebody we get to talk about, but like they got booted out of every other major film studio in Hollywood, and then Miramax was like, you know what, or Harvey Weinstein was like, you know what, yeah, cool, we'll take a chance on this, but if you fuck this up, you're done. So they couldn't really blow the bag on that first movie anyway. I've seen stuff from the second and third movie the special effects get better. And I think that's because the studio has more confidence in them moving forward. But for what it was, I enjoyed it. Again, second half.
All right.
I'll say I
Here we
wasn't
go.
expecting them to break the budget. And this movie is my only point of reference. So from watching this one movie, I just thought there should have been some sort of magic at some point. Like I said, just a laser beam, something. I just wanted a little bit more.
Well, and I think you came into it with wrong expectations, and that's why you're disappointed.
I came into it knowing that this is a fantasy movie, and can I see some fantasy special effects?
You're thinking about magic systems
like Harry Potter
now. Yeah, you're thinking about magic systems that we see on screen now. The world of the Lord of the Rings is not that magic. It's much more natural. It's much more, there is not a lot of
like they say a spell and then something happens and
yeah, it's not flash bang. It's not you don't see spells in this world. Like the introduction of being able to see spells for TV is because TV producers were like, yeah, let's see the magic kids what magic looks like. But like that's not what this movie is.
No, like the part where she calls the horses down the river, like that's probably one of the coolest scenes. They like ride off.
It's not my favorite.
Crush everybody.
Natural earth magic. That's more of what this world is. So that's a great example, Mariah. It sounds like you guys don't all know about the making of the Lord of the Rings like I know about it, but they filmed some of the ways that this was really historical is they actually filmed all 3 movies at one time. So and
what?
The whole trilogy in one shot.
And then they waited years to edit and upgrade their.
Well, I mean, they all basically came out like one year after the other, right?
They did, and considering they filmed all 3 movies within like a 15-month period. So they were, but they, how movies are shot. Not like they filmed the Fellowship of the Ring.
Yeah.
The 2 towers. They were filming scenes all over the place. But I think that the reason that the effects appear a little bit better year over year and movie over movie is because of the philosophy of and the type of like settings and stuff that they were using. So the other piece of this that was like really revolutionary is Peter Jackson we're trying to get more CGI was like, I want everything to be real. I want it to be real. They Hobbiton. They went in, they built Hobbiton. They started filming just so gardens could grow.
What's Hobbiton?
Hobbiton is where the hobbits lived.
Is that the Shire?
Yeah, the Shire.
What?
You can go down today.
What's the Shire?
That's where all the doors had circles. All the hobbits lived there. The big
He's like the Shire of Bilbo Baggins.
Yeah, you were sleeping at that point.
Oh yes, that's at the very beginning of the movie. So you missed the.
Yeah.
My question is the Shire another name for Hobbiton, or are they?
So the Hobbiton is within the Shire. Shire is like the area where all the hobbits live, but Hobbiton is one place inside the Shire.
Okay,
it's like the Shire is like the region, and in Hobbiton is like where Bilbo and live. But like they whole little like that whole windy path that Gandalf goes up to Bag End. So that before they started filming, so that all the plants could grow and like it would look really real. All of with Gandalf and the hobbits, or most of the the hobbits and really anybody, they're all done by like forced perspective. So that's why sometimes when you're watching the movie, the hobbits look like, oh, they just got CGI'd in, and that doesn't look like the rest of it. It's because for the most part, they just shot it real time with like Ian McKellen like in the same room as Elijah Wood, but like the forced perspective just makes it appear like Elijah Wood is so much smaller than him. So Peter Jackson wanted like as real as when and in the later movies they built Edoras, they built Minas Tirith. The sets they built were crazy. The miniatures that they built were insane. They shot everything with as much real. Like the four hobbits alone, their feet, they went through something like 1,800 pairs of hobbit feet as 4 main hobbits over the course of the filming of the movies. It's insane.
Do they
Like,
run into more hobbits?
No, they don't run into more hobbits. But you know, within Hobbiton, all of the extras had hobbit feet too.
I don't know. I pictured like if they got the ring into the fire, there'd be like a scene with hobbits. You remember at the end with all the Ewoks after they blow up the Death Star and everything, and everybody's like, "Yeah, we fucking did it." I assumed there would be like a hobbit party.
It's in the books and in the extended edition, you do get a blink of what they call the Scourge of the Shire, where if they lose the war, the orcs come in and they enslave the hobbits, and it's like real bad in Hobbiton.
Yeah, I saw that part.
Yeah.
Well, that's like a little cutscene they did.
But that, I think in the books, if I'm remembering right, that actually does start happening, and so then they have to come in, and then the 4 main hobbits come back, and like Merry and Pippin come in, and they like clean up the shit. They save the Shire, so they come back, and then they like save the Shire from the like being run over by the evil forces. So in the movies, we don't get to encounter hobbits. Hobbits really are isolated to this one part of the world at point in the timeline. So anyways, that's kind of like the make so much crazy shit that they did to make this movie and to do it as realistically as possible. So I think that also adds to how dated it feels, because it's not to the point where, and this is what Denise, when I said earlier, like the Lord of the Rings versus the Hobbit, the Rings of Power being very generally different filming techniques, is because like Sir Ian McKellen, who played Gandalf, when he was filming The Hobbit, he almost quit. He got so depressed, he almost quit because they were filming everything on green screen. Like, I can't act like this. There's nobody in the room with me. What the am I supposed to do? And he got so depressed that they actually like had to throw him. And when they were filming Lord of the Rings, he, even with the hobbits, he was in the same room as them. He was acting with them. He was like,
that nigga would have quit.
And then
throwing no goddamn party for Gandalf.
And they brought in all the props. They brought in all the props from Lord of the Rings to like give him a hit of nostalgia. But like the filming of those two like series was so vastly different, even for the people that were involved, or especially for the people who were involved. So yeah. So hear what you're saying. Like it feels dated when you're watching it, but to me, it doesn't feel so much dated as it feels really. It just feels practical. Like there's not a lot of the CGI stuff.
There's not a lot of CGI stuff. So when you do see the CGI stuff, you would expect them to take more care with it. That shit with Galadriel,
throws it off.
When she saw that ring, they cut to 35 seconds of the worst.
The glowing.
Was it CGI? I don't know what it was.
Know. You know what it reminded me of? Remember from The Simpsons where Mr. Burns, they thought he was like this ghost or this alien. And he was like green, that glow, and the big old. That's exactly what she reminded me of. I was like, did they? But I don't know what came first. I don't know if The Simpsons came first or that. I was like, this looks really bad.
I mean, either way.
And put a green light in front of her and gave her black contacts, and then she.
Yeah, they did that. They did the eyes thing where it's like, we're going to zoom in on your eyes, make it as big as you possibly can. And she was like, okay, what kind of expression do you want me to make with them when they're that big? And they were like, no, you're missing this whole fucking thing. There's no expression. We need them so big that you can't emote.
It was crazy. It kind of took me aback because the whole movie had been pretty like vanilla, and then all of a sudden it was just, I was like, holy shit.
When he whipped that nigga's leg on that bridge.
He's on ball run.
When he was falling with that fucking 25-cent animated whip. Like, I mean, there was only like 5 or 6 scenes where I was like, okay, you know what? This is bad. Like, this is supposed to be, and like I get it. Like all the orc armies and the sets, all of that shit was amazing.
That was fun.
They could have taken more care with the parts where they were like, okay, this has.
He jumps off the castle onto an eagle.
That was
flies away.
You know what's funny is because I tried to watch, because I talked to you guys about Lord of the Beans. So VeggieTales had their spinoff of Lord of the Rings, and it was called Lord of the Beans.
What's happening?
Mariah's dying. That's what's happening.
You watched something called Lord of the Beans?
The kids loved it, so I have the DVD of VeggieTales. Mariah,
I had to watch that in church.
Yeah. So the kids loved it. So I had the Lord of the Rings spinoff, Lord of the Beans. So I had seen that. I've never seen Lord of the Rings. I've seen Lord of the Beans. So I rewatched Lord of the Beans with my son. And sometimes they poked fun at some of the things that happened in the movie. And that scene was one that they poked fun at. So when Gandalf tried to jump on the eagle, the next scene, the eagle was on the ground. He basically was like, what the fuck was that? This grown man trying to jump on an eagle. He was like, what the fuck are you doing? So yeah, when Gandalf jumped on the eagle, I was like, what, how? And
yeah, that could have been.
Because he did not have his staff when he was on that roof. But when he's showing up, he has his staff back. Where'd you get his staff from?
He wanted it back. He did some wizard shit.
Yeah,
he didn't do no wizard shit. He didn't do wizard shit in that entire movie. There's no way.
It was off camera.
Off camera, he just went and got a staff.
It was in the extended cut.
Look,
it was in the extended cut. You're right. There we go.
Oh boy.
We can talk a lot about how bad the graphics were.
It's a movie from 2001.
It's not just graphics sometimes. I think sometimes too it was just the movie. But that could have been the book for all I know. I don't know, but
I mean that could that's also, I imagine Peter Jackson isn't a guy who really I would imagine wanted to work with all of that, like CGI shit anyway. So maybe it wasn't that great because that's just not where his specialty is. I mean, which, maybe then just don't fucking do it. But I'm trying to find the positives in this. And I guess
positives though.
It boils down to like he really tried.
No, I liked there were things I loved. I loved Sean Bean's character. I have no idea what his name is. I loved him. Who?
Boromir.
And then the dwarf.
I ain't like him.
Gimli.
Oh,
Gimli.
you didn't like him?
I loved Gimli. I didn't like
Boromir.
I'm just gonna call him Sean Bean. I didn't like Sean Bean.
No, I didn't like Sean Bean's character. I liked Sean Bean.
The second I saw him, I was like, bad guy. Like you're gonna fuck him.
And you're definitely dead. Knew that.
I didn't think he was gonna die. I thought he was gonna like join. I thought he was gonna join Sauron. Is that his name? The wizard.
So the wizard, the wizard, the white wizard is Saruman. Sauron is the burning eye at the top of the other tower.
I'm gonna try to say it one time. Saruman.
The
wizard all in white. Saruman.
Right. Saruman. Okay, cool.
The real wizard in the movie. The only wizard, if we're being honest.
For real.
Man, he beat Gandalf's ass.
Numerous
times.
With
his sticks. Both his sticks.
Numerous times.
He shut that first door and Gandalf looked
and wizardry. Huh?
Gandalf looked flabbergasted. He turned to leave and Saruman shut that door and Gandalf said, "What the fuck?" He started looking for other doors like they were going to stay open.
You know, those doors That bitch sounded loud as fuck. It was like, and he made sure you heard all four. It wasn't just
Hey, nigga.
one door in that room. There were 4 doors.
He's doing it with magic. You're not gonna outrun him to the door. Like, what are you doing, bro?
And then it was just the longest airbend battle I have ever seen in my entire life. They were just fighting each other with wind the whole time.
Which, I mean, what did you want him to do?
She
Because
wants to
that-
see magic on the screen.
Because-
That's
Yeah,
what she wants.
Gandalf
She wants
had,
to zap him with lightning.
Gandalf
She
had
wants
a
to
wizard.
see spells.
Gandalf had a wizard staff the entire movie, and he used it to club people. He used it for a flashlight and a door knocker, and that was it. There was no
okay. Here's the thing though, because when you watch all of the other magic that takes place in the movie, none of it is like quick twitch. It's all, you know, it's all effort. It takes effort to do this, because as I learned watching Rings of Power, they're not actually wizards. They're like angels or some shit.
Yes.
So what they do isn't like that, you know, fucking Wizards of
They call
Waverly
him a
Place
wizard.
magic, where he's just going to point at something and turn it into a rock,
The only reason I called him a wizard is because they called him a wizard.
because they
Man-
don't know what he is.
Man call they
The
call
name
him a
was
wizard, but like
genius corrected.
all the different names for him depending on the role he plays in that kind of, you know, sometimes he's just they call him the one, they call him Mithrandir, they call him all different kinds of things. David said it. So when Sauron started to like take hold of power again, 5 wizards, quote unquote, like 5 angelic beings were sent by the god of this world to basically counter him. So you think about like the Force, Sauron was fucking up the Force, and so 5 angelic were sent to Earth to counter Saruman, the White Wizard, Gandalf the Grey. There's 2 blue wizards that fuck like, nah, I don't want to do this. And then there's Radagast the Brown, and job is to kind of keep evil in check.
I don't like
So-
that name with the brown part.
Are these in movies 2 and 3? Or when do we see these characters?
appendices.
We never see the blue wizards.
What's the right here?
She's dying.
We never
Spit out my
you-
drink.
The 2 blue ones, we never see them.
We never see the blue wizards. Like I said, they fucked right off. Radagast the Brown, he comes and kind of warns them of like with his like bunny sled, which is very weird, but like his like magic is like nature and nurturing the woods and animals and things. Gandalf, technically, Denise, for your background, Gandalf's kind of realm is mostly like wisdom, history, connecting the charismatic guy that connects the world against Sauron through all of his knowledge and power and wisdom. And so we know that there's also 3 elven rings. And when he arrives on Earth, the elves give him the Ring of Fire. Realm of like magic is light and fire.
I would
And
get
so-
that if for the whole movie he wasn't high off that old Toby and everybody was like, you know, what's that man's name? Saruman?
The
Saruman.
White Wizard is Sauron.
The halfling's leaf has affected your brain because he couldn't remember shit. And then he gets into the mines of Moria, or whatever you call it. He can't remember which way to go. He has to smell his way out of there. And it's because it's like I just half the movie, not even half the movie. Majority
Does
of the
he
movie-
come back? I didn't realize he
Here-
died in the
here's-
first movie.
Here's the thing.
Yeah, he does, I guess.
Okay.
Shauna, I feel like you can just go ahead and tell them, because it's been
20
almost
years.
30 years since these movies came out.
Yeah, I figure he's gonna come
Yeah.
back. And I know
But he-
he turns
He,
white.
co-
like,
he
right
comes
now.
back and he's pretty badass.
Yeah,
I don't-
Yes.
he goes from Gandalf the Grey to Gandalf the White, and I hear when he goes to Gandalf the White, that's where he gets his powers.
He doesn't get his powers, but he's a little bit is the whole thing. He starts to flex more when he's Gandalf the
Mm.
Okay.
he is Gandalf the White. As Gandalf the Grey, he really wants to just kind of
Can do nothing.
Gandalf the Grey really wants to be the puppet master. Wants to be orchestrating things and advising and doing, but he doesn't want, to David's point, like when he has to cast magic, it depletes him, and his physical body is an old man, and he can die. So in the first, like when he does die fighting the Balrog, he dies. So yeah, spoiler for this book from the and these movies from early 2000s. But yeah, so he dies. He falls through flame and shadow, and what happens is, before you start asking me about how his body goes from the to like a mountaintop, again, the god who sent them there, it happens. Don't worry about it. So,
No
anyways, the god who sent them there in the first place, basically, not done yet. You're the only one who's committed to fighting Sauron. So it's an act of God that he is then reincarnated again as Gandalf the White, and that's why Saruman the White turning was up for him, because he's supposed to be the top guy. He's supposed to be the top wizard fighting evil against Sauron, but he's been tempted. He's turned to the dark side. So now you've got Saruman and Sauron on the dark side. The two blue wizards fucked off. Radagast talks to bunnies all day. Gandalf's the last guy standing. He's got to be on Earth trying to fight this evil before the whole Earth shadow.
And does he put the old Toby down so that he can do that?
Does he what?
Does he put down the old Toby so that he can do that effectively?
No, he don't put down the lettuce.
He actually does. As Gandalf the White, he stops smoking the hobbit weed because he's like, it just doesn't, it's not good for me. I need a clear head.
Mm-hmm.
Have a point, but as Gandalf the White, he doesn't smoke as much.
That's disappointing.
In the extended cuts.
Listen, he was used to me. That's
so
all.
like, but this is what I mean about like this world. Like you don't see the magic system. It's more like the Force. Like you're shifting. You're shifting energy.
There were times he tried, and I was just like, "What are you doing?" Like when they were on that mountain, I have no fucking idea what he was doing on that mountain, just yelling out gibberish because it didn't do anything. I was like, "What are you doing?"
What didn't do anything?
He was pushing back.
Yeah,
he was
against the other guy.
He was trying to fight Saruman because Saruman was up on that tower.
I saw his shit happening. I don't know what Gandalf was doing
because Gandalf was losing. That's why you couldn't see his shit.
Yeah, he was just holding it back.
He was trying to stop that storm, but he couldn't.
I know. And then when we get to the friend door, he's lighting it up and shit. And and then what's his face? Frodo's like, "Oh, you just say friend in this language." Like,
Gandalf the guy be the smartest nigga in the room. He's like,
and then the octopus coming out.
He's magic. He's not a genius.
Not stopping any of that. Anytime I saw him, I was like, yeah. The Balrog, he didn't stop that Balrog. The Balrog was going to fall. He was going to fall on that bridge no matter what with that body weight. The very first step on the bridge to come over there, he was falling.
Gandalf had to use, come on, man. He had to use a lot of energy to break.
Oh, yeah, you can see him.
Yeah. Even if he wasn't there, when the Balrog took one step on that bridge, he was going to fall.
Actually, I don't think we know that because the Balrog is made of flame and shadow, so he might not weigh anything.
Yeah, he's big, but he's not like a heavy thing. And again, I can't stress this enough. Like Gandalf broke that bridge with straight up fucking magic. It's not like it wasn't like he just hit his staff on the floor and it was so brittle it broke. Like he used a lot of magic to break that. I mean, that bridge has been there for millennia. It's not a weak bridge.
The dwarves don't fuck around.
And then it fell.
What?
Because he crumbled it. He made sure through that space.
And unfortunately, the guy had
you
to
hear the nigga scream, "You shall not do this thing," and then stop.
You shall not pass.
He screamed a lot of things during that movie.
But he screamed it and then did the thing, and then
it's just like a magician deflecting. It was like, is this your card? Kind of trick.
No, okay, all right.
He wasn't deflecting.
This is House of the Dragon all over again. You're just you don't like him, so you don't want to give him credit for shit. Okay,
I do not like him. I miss House of the Dragon.
So he's your Alicent, pretty much.
Oh God.
All right.
Next.
Shauna, what happened the first half of this movie? We can't get into it. We're an hour into this, and we're an hour into this, and we haven't actually told anybody listening what this movie's about?
Oh, because it's 20 years old and they've seen it.
Okay, very briefly. Bilbo Baggins in The Hobbit finds the one ring of power. There are a bunch of rings of power. He finds the one ring. Think of Sauron and the One Ring as kind of like a Horcrux. If you're familiar with Harry Potter, think about it like that. Okay.
No.
So the thing about the One Ring is that it influences people toward evil. So that's why Boromir starts acting real fucking freaky. That's why when they're in Bilbo sees it again, he gets all like, it's my ring. So anybody who's in contact with it for too long will basically bend toward evil. That's why none of like men can't be trusted with it. Elves can't be trusted with it. The whole has to be destroyed in order to Sauron's will to rule the world. So when Gandalf figures out Bilbo pulls some shit and disappears the party, he makes Bilbo leave it behind to give it to Frodo. He's basically like, you have to leave it. You have to. You don't know is over you, but you're 11 old Bilbo. You're old for a hobbit. You can't do this anymore. So then it is the ring of power. It starts initially with these hobbits just trying to get to Rivendell to basically say, fuck this out of my life. I don't want it anymore. But then at the council, they see very quickly how everyone starts arguing because it's creeping in. Like men, dwarves, none of these elves are too powerful to wield it because then they, bug out like Galadriel. Have to do it. And that's when out from Rivendell to go to Mordor. And they have the fellowship, so they are trying as quickly as possible to get there. Time on their way to Rivendell, some hijinks ensue. At the end of the Fellowship of the Ring is where the fellowship breaks. Gandalf is gone. He's lost after the Mines of Moria. Frodo realizes that this ring is going to tempt everybody. He has to do it alone. Sam is like, you can be alone, but I'm coming. And Pippin and Merry, to help Frodo get away, are captured by Uruk-hai. And so Aragorn and Gimli have to go save the other hobbits. And the Fellowship of the Ring goes, and then there's the Two Towers, the second book, and the Return of the King. So that's the quick recap.
Sam a fucking moron, bro.
I was about to say
hi. Oh, Sam.
More like idiot.
Just Shauna, there were so many boats. Shauna.
On that shore.
Frodo started rowing away. He was 20 feet offshore at most. 20 feet. They weren't even yelling. They were just having a conversation. That's how close he was. And he starts walking out. He's about hip deep. Frodo says, "Nigga, you can't swim." And he said, "Yeah, I got it." So now you got a choice to make, buddy. He just fucking drowns.
That's why he does it though. He's not. Yeah, he makes boats. Frodo take
and
it.
he's like, I'm coming with you, and to show you how valuable I am to this mission, I'm gonna fucking drown 2 seconds into this. So either you're gonna drown trying to save me, or you're gonna pull me out and we're off. Where I have to assume he's just a 2-movie liability moving forward. He probably gets Frodo into some shit. And you know what it is? It feels like he's one of those niggas. There's like a pie on the windsill, and they're like, "Hey, don't eat that pie." And Sam's like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna eat this pie." And then everybody's gonna deal with what happens from that.
No, that's Pippin. That's the one that went up to and did something, and then the head falls in the hole. And that's the one that was fucking throwing rocks into the river.
Yes.
And that's probably the
one. That was the same Hobbit.
Yes, that's that one.
Yeah, that's Pippin. Pippin is always
fucking Pippin.
That's like Pippin is the youngest Hobbit, and he's always getting into trouble. Sam. Like, I know we're expanding beyond the Fellowship now, but like Sam is basically, he's kind of like the embodiment of hope and the Shire and everything that needs to be reminded of throughout the journey. Because Frodo realizes pretty quick he's not coming home. This is a one-way.
Does he die?
Fuck. Shauna, you can't just say it like that.
Wait, does he die?
That's Frodo. He very nearly does. Like if Frodo had his way.
No, does he die?
Well, I'll tell you. I don't know.
I'm just
But-
gonna Google it.
Let's go fucking Google it.
Fine.
Come on.
Fine. So Frodo does not die, but he, like I said, Frodo realizes really quick this is a one-way. He knows it. He's been sent on a suicide mission. He feels the weight of the happen. He knows that when he goes to Mordor, the ring is gonna. Sam
Damn.
never ever figures that out, and like in the last leg is like, Sam, don't you get it? We're not going home. And Sam's like, no, but we are going home. That's what I'm here. Gandalf told me be safe and bring you home, and that's my job. So that is that. And when Frodo starts to like really descend into like the madness of the ring, Sam is the one that's there like, you gotta stop. You gotta stop. You gotta come back. David's dying.
Isn't that no? I'm only laughing because I remember that because that's what he yelled in Frodo's fucking face after he pulled him out of the water. He was like, "Gandalf told me to keep you safe." Like you just drowned,
Yeah.
nigga. Like what do you? You immediately proved to me that you cannot keep me safe in more than 3 feet of water. Like
Sam, I will say, Sam pulls Frodo out of danger multiple times in the subsequent movie. So Sam actually does like save his life on a couple of different accounts.
So something that I didn't expect to happen so quick was for this fellowship to just fail very,
Yeah.
very fast, as the way
Yeah.
they did in this movie. Do they come back
Mhm.
together in the second movie? Like, does Orlando Bloom find Frodo?
Yes,
Is
he's
Frodo
back.
on his own? Okay.
I don't know.
So
I don't remember how it happens, but he is there.
I mean, I'll watch
Yes and
it
no.
at some point. I'm just trying to figure out. I'm like, I was not expecting for them to fail at this mission so fast.
right.
So
I'm
the
talking
answer
about
is yes
immediately.
and no.
Immediately. You have my axe, you have my bow, and then next thing I know, somebody's dead. People are getting kidnapped.
They could. I mean, they could have sent anybody.
Out here. Like, and then they were like, "Damn, we fucked that up, huh? Well, let's go get these other two motherfuckers because to feel like we did something. Let's
Yeah.
go get them."
Wow,
So
I feel
Shauna,
like-
what actually happens?
Oh my gosh. Okay.
He
So I
said-
feel like you guys really should just watch the rest of the movies. If you have all these questions, I feel like there's a payoff in watching the
Here's the
movies.
thing. I don't know if I want these questions answered by me watching 8 more hours of this, or if I just want you to tell me or Google.
I'm gonna watch him because I'm curious. A, I'm curious, and B, when I was stationed in Iraq, I bought a Xbox that they had like done all the stuff with, preloaded a bunch of games, and there was a scene on it with the elf dude. He was like climbing on an elephant or some shit, and I was like, that looks bad as fuck.
But
I didn't know what that
Yes.
was from before, and then in researching this stuff, I was like, oh, that's the shit he used to play on my Xbox. So, like I said, the graphics get better because that was pretty fucking cool, at least back when 2008.
I don't know if VeggieTales
Um,
covers the other two movies.
no.
Oh my
So
god!
that Oliphant. So he built an oliphant.
Hey,
Had to take it up into the space and like multiple.
Why do you keep calling it that? Did
Like
they not
she-
just call it an elephant?
It's
Clearly, they
it's
did.
actually something else. It's actually something
you know,
else.
she
But
has
it's
the
like
appendix. She knows what they're
I
called.
do. I can't remember the Elvish word for it or the Mordish word for it, but the
You
Oliphant
don't
is
have
what
to
we call
cry.
them.
It's okay.
Okay.
But yeah,
Okay.
they built one to scale for the two.
And like had him
Return of the
climb
King?
it. or
Orion
whatever?
has her hand raised.
Somebody on YouTube said, "How are you focused on Lord of the Rings during the draft?"
Well, because when you have a
Because
team, when you're only
I-
focused on one team,
Is-
you,
I'm sorry. I was trying not to bring it up again. We picked Jalen Carter, so I'm good for right now.
yeah,
Oh, the
you,
football draft.
the
Yeah.
I'm
NFL
like,
draft.
what draft is he talking about? Was it like a war? Like, did I miss something?
You just wait till your team comes back around. The Eagles
Yeah.
already made
Oh.
their pick. They're not
Yep.
on the clock. We're good. We can keep it rolling.
The football draft. Okay.
I was
So-
wondering why you look so confused. Mariah's like the draft. It's the NFL draft.
So I said at the top when David was looking down and watching.
Oh, wait. Sorry to cut you off. The person said, Dave, I am your father. D. Anthony 302?
Yes,
That's
that's
literally
our dad.
my, yeah,
Okay.
that's literally my
Okay.
dad.
Makes sense. Hello. All right. Sorry to cut you off.
So this is one of the like did you knows of the Fellowship of the Ring. In that scene where Sean Bean does say like one does not into Mordor, you can see him glancing down. It's because there were so many script rewrites that they literally were sometimes given scripts like the night before, and he has the script taped to his knee, and he's reading the script off his knee. So in that scene, down and looking up because he's trying to figure out what his actual scene, his script.
Hmm.
Why did they just have
On
a
the
card
fly.
on the distance? Why you gotta have it on his knee?
I wasn't there, Denise. I mean,
Why are you?
That's
Hide it
absolutely
from
fair.
behind
You're
the
absolutely
tape.
right. I'm sorry. I can't expect you to know everything. You're absolutely right. I apologize.
we do have some other like fun facts. So in the first scene, remember I was saying that it's all practical Gandalf and the hobbits. So when Gandalf hits in the end, that was a real thing that happens. It's like he was just really tall for the set and he bumped his head on a ceiling beam. At where they're deciding the fate of the ring, when Gimli comes in, you see him around the dwarf. That's his dad, Gloin, who the adventures that Bilbo went on and the company. And in my head, I really like the idea of Gloin and Bilbo hanging out in Rivendell, just chatting and reminiscing and stuff. The scene where Frodo gets stabbed and then they're Weathertop and he's kind of coming in and out of being in the Wraith world. In the movies and not the extended edition, like 3 stone trolls, and Sam actually calls it out like, "Hey Frodo, look, it's Mr. Bilbo's trolls." But in The Hobbit, there's a whole saves the whole company from 3 trolls by waiting until the sun comes up. Stone, and they actually are in that movie, which I thought was really cool. And then this is the last one, but this is a big one. The fight scene with Aragorn. Do you remember when the Uruk-hai at Aragorn and Aragorn swings his sword like a bat and deflects?
Yes.
That actually happened in it.
That was in the woods, right?
Yeah, it was right at the end. Yeah. He basically is telling Frodo, like, I would have followed you to the very end. And then he sees Sting and he goes, run, Frodo. And he knows Frodo's going to go. He has this big battle that to murk Sean Bean, like arrow. Aragorn comes in. They have this big arms and stuff. But yeah, when he throws a knife at Aragorn, it's a real knife. The prop got swapped. And Aragorn swings his sword like a bat and deflects it and saves his own life because that was a real thing.
Oh, that's not cool.
But it looks.
Speaking of Frodo getting stabbed, though, that second stabbing scene was very dramatic for somebody who did not even get stabbed. I was very.
That little dwarf said, "Oh, he's got mithril." I was like, "Come the fuck on!"
I just knew. I was like,
he was
though. He was probably like, I can't fucking breathe.
No, he was acting like somebody who got stabbed.
He acted like he got killed, and it almost got his friends killed because they tried to go avenge his death and jumping on that troll.
And he's fine.
Like, oh, I'm fine. I'm not hurt. I was like, you motherfucker. Your friends almost got themselves killed trying to avenge you, and you're not even dead. You didn't even get stabbed.
Bruised ribs for sure, though. He probably didn't breathe very well.
Bruised ribs. And can I say one of the coolest scenes, other than the whole "this isn't a mine, it's a tomb" thing, because that probably was my favorite line in that movie. When that man, Ryder, whoever he was, went to stab that orc king or whatever that thing was, and he did stab a little bit, and that orc looked him in the face, grabbed his spear with both hands, and pulled it into himself. Man, to stab him, man, I rewatched that part maybe 3 times. That was pretty badass.
It's a badass fight scene for sure.
So there were parts of it that I did like.
Oh, an hour in and we discover.
There we go. Mark it. 104.
There were parts that I did like, but I'm just like, I just don't know. You just don't know.
Yeah.
So I know you had a lot of questions, Shauna. Is there where can we lead this?
I thought she was done with the questions. You have more questions?
That was all?
For all the questions, I'm mostly here to advocate for everybody to watch more. I kind of just I really wanted to know what you guys were coming in with. Are how you liked it. These movies are of a which seems weird to say because it was, 2001, 2002, and 2003. They literally came out back to back to back. Return of the King came out in 2003. And yeah, so I guess we can kind of talk about what they're doing. If you aren't all like the way that the property is moving forward, it's a little bit because they did say that they're going to they're not going to remake the Lord of the Rings movies, I think, but they said they want to explore the world in like new and interesting ways, kind of like along the same lines as but part of the conversation that I did think was could they make this type of film today? It sounds like from what Denise was saying, she does not like this type of film. She wants to see magic. She wants to see a fantasy world that's a little bit more high def, but
I'm saying I feel like if they made it today, they would make it that way.
Well, they're kind of doing it with Rings of Power.
They are. Mm-hmm.
Speaking of which, I got a question for you, Shauna.
Okay.
What's going on with Galadriel? Because Sauron is alive in this movie, and in Rings of Power, as far as I understood, she wants to kill Sauron so bad that she doesn't go back to the West. So why is she so casual? Like, nah, fuck it now. I mean, I'm positive she comes back in the second and third movie because they wouldn't base the entire Rings of Power thing off of her just for 15 minutes of being a weird Ghostbusters villain. But is there some kind of turning point where she stops being a warrior and turns into a magic elf? Or
so that's kind of but the thing is that she settles down because she has Gandalf, so becomes a big supporter of Gandalf. Call it the White Council, as basically the people who are trying to run off the map. And Galadriel is a part of the White Council. She wants Gandalf to be the head of the White Council. She wants him to lead the charge. She knows that he's good for the job. Galadriel's struggle in the Rings of Power, she's really ambitious. We see it in the Fellowship of the Ring when Frodo offers her the One Ring. The reason runs out the way she does is because that's like her. She was a really ambitious young elf. She wanted to lead. She wanted to rule. So when in her really would manifest as like, I am the ruler. You're gonna back because it takes her inner inhibition or like her inner ambitions and bends them towards being evil. So she realizes that close to power without it kind of corrupting her. So she does end up taking a step back and saying, Gandalf, you're better suited for this. Galadriel is an owner of a ring of power. She has one of the 3 elven rings. So involved in the battle against Sauron, but Sauron also has a connection to her because she is one of the ring bearers. A little bit too close to it. Does that answer your question?
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, when she started freaking out and didn't take the ring, she said, "Whew, I passed," and walked away. I was like,
"Hey man, you have a good one." She said, "You gotta deal with that shit every day."
She said, "Pat myself on the back. I passed. Whew, thank God."
Because she wouldn't have like a couple years before that, she wouldn't have passed that test. She would have taken the because she would have wanted that power. She would have wanted to start by being ultimately would have been corrupted. And it's the same reason why Gandalf, like when Frodo's like, take it, Gandalf, take it. Gandalf is like, I seriously cannot be erased. I cannot. powerful. If this ring starts to get its hooks in me, I could do some damage like that. And Galadriel is the same. Like, can't, like, she see, like, and you see that manifest through her like weird CGI. But Gandalf is just like, I don't want it. Don't even offer it.
Man, I had to give that to my boy Frodo.
Yeah, why couldn't Bilbo just take that shit?
Bilbo was already
not give it to Frodo.
No, here's what I'm asking. At his birthday party, when he's like, "Oh, fuck this, I want to go on some more adventures," and he goes to put the ring on, right? And then he bounces. Why not just take the ring at that point and fuck off with it? Like, because I mean, I know they figure out we need to destroy it. Like once they get to Rivendell. Mm-hmm. Bilbo's in Rivendell.
So I have it.
Okay. That confuses shit out of me because they did that whole thing and I was like, oh, he's not going with him? Like he's had this ring for hundreds of years now. He's very intimate with how the ring works. But
so
like he's just going fucking.
So Bilbo's had the ring for a hot minute. I don't know, like 50 or 30 years or so, closer to 7. He's 34 when he starts his journey, and he's 11-1.
You went from 50 to 30 to 70.
But longer than a week, though.
Much, yes. But the thing is,
yeah, wasn't that a week?
Gandalf has suspect that the ring might be the one. Bilbo just doesn't die. Like, he stays really young for a really long time. His life as a hobbit is much, much longer than a normal hobbit. And so that's when he was like, what is going on? And that's what starts his wheels turning. That's says, do not bring the ring with you. You have to let this go. So just see the change in Bilbo happening. And he's like, I have to check some shit out first. Because again, Gandalf's whole point of being on Earth is on. So if he's just found the number one weapon, he's got to confirm that shit first. So there's actually like 17-year gap between says Bilbo, put that shit down. Then he goes off and he goes on an adventure trying to confirm that this is the one ring. When he does, he has all of his information. That's when he goes back to the Shire and sees Frodo, and he's like, "Hey, throw that ring in the fire for me, real quick." And then when the letters, the words of Mordor show up on it, that's like the last piece of information that he needs to confirm is what I thought it was. And we got to go now, tonight. We need this thing out of the world.
So that's like you said that's a 17-year jump between.
It's something crazy. Like, yeah, like Gandalf goes research journey, and Aragorn is with him for a part of it. So like Aragorn knows a lot of what's going on. That's why Aragorn tagged in real early to kind of get the hot Bree to Rivendell.
Denise, you might be right
About
Gandalf. That nigga dense.
I told you. I don't.
What's a
you
dumb
are Gandalf
motherfucker.
apologist. I don't think you are. I saw right through him. I saw right through him.
It took him 17 years. After that,
he gets trapped for a little while.
Well, yeah, a little while. He does a lot
probably one of those
research.
It was like a box and a stick.
With a carrot, and he goes
like a piece of cheese or something inside.
That's exactly what he fell for. Knowing him, that's exactly the trick he fell for.
In the movie, they make it seem like Sauron only has for like a couple of days, but like Sauron holds him captive for like a long ass time.
He looked like he was up there for a while. He looked like he was up there for weeks with no food and water.
Yeah.
I know you're saying years, but it looked like it was an awful long time up there. He looked like he was fading pretty quickly, but yeah. I had his number from the first time I saw him. There's a wizard on a horse. I don't know about this guy.
That to me is weird that you think that's weird. Wizards on.
What did you expect?
I don't know. I saw him riding on horseback, and I said, "There's something about this guy I don't like."
You don't like the horse. You don't like the eagle.
I love the horse, and I love the eagle.
You just don't want wizards on
like
him.
Gandalf.
Gotcha. Okay.
So
She wants him to magic around on a broom so she can see the magic.
it's not the broom. I something about him. Maybe the next movie I'll like
It
him.
really seems like you want him to fly around on a fucking broom,
I
or
just
like
want to be a wizard.
wave his staff and like walk through a cloud of smoke or something.
She
Something
wants
like that. She
Dumbledore.
really
It's
wants-
not happening.
It's not.
Or
that's
even
not
the
how
other
he
guy.
works.
The other guy did magic. This guy didn't do anything.
Dumbledore walked around. He walked around, right? He didn't fucking.
But like I said, not even
He walked.
Dumbledore.
He
Harry and Hermione didn't know magic in this guy.
The magic, though,
Those
you're assigning a magic
Fine.
system that doesn't
But
exist in
when
this.
I compare him to the other wizard in this movie, he didn't even match up.
The other wizard was already white, and
He's the most
I don't.
of the council, and he's being backed by Lucifer of
Here's
this
the thing.
world. So he's
All
getting
I have
magic
going
up
into
too.
this movie is what I see in this movie. I didn't have any who's white, who's gray. All I saw was on the screen in front of me. I didn't have any reference points. So if, coming in for somebody who doesn't know any of this and looking at these two wizards on the screen, I was like, one of these wizards is not like the other. That's all I was
you
saying.
should have figured out where Gandalf was on that pecking order when that nigga was amazed that door shut with nobody touching it. You know what I'm saying? He turned around, that door shut. He's like, oh,
I saw it. That's why I was like, what is happening? Why is he's not like is he a wizard? He's not like a real wizard. So that's when I based it strictly off of what I saw in the movie, nothing else. These two wizards were not the same. That was all.
But
I
again,
was like,
and
why is he a
also
wizard?
not really wizards.
Correct.
They called him a wizard. I don't have any other reference points to go off of. They kept calling this man a wizard.
That's
Well,
because it
yeah,
was,
I know,
he
but-
was
but you
named-
know
he was
now.
named by he
Now?
was named by man, and man was like, "Oh, you can light stuff out of, and you must be a wizard." Oh,
Mariah, fucking up over there.
Mic drop. Sorry.
Get out of here. Well,
but again,
I mean,
wizard. They call him a bunch of different things.
Let me just say that YouTube says, 1, I would have thought less of him if he was walking, and 2, D, why are you stereotyping wizards?
because he's not a wizard. He wasn't a real wizard. I want to see some magic. I want to see some spell casting. I want to see some authoritation over here. He was getting handled left, right, and the third. In that orc battle, they said, get behind Gandalf. And I literally said, for what? Why? They were safer behind anybody else.
I
The
can't
very
be sure.
first thing Gandalf did was pull out a sword. That was the very first thing he did.
Because
Because
swords
he's
kill
like
stuff.
2,000 years old, and he can kill things with swords. He's a very skilled.
I'm expecting him to wizard out on these people, and he
But
just
David
pulls
al-
out a sword. He didn't
David
pull out a
already-
sword when the octopus came around. So where did
Didn't
he get this sword from?
Didn't he? Management, like David said, to cast his type of magic depletes his body, his old man
Why
body.
did
So
have
he is
this
going to
sword
get.
when
He's
the
going to get
octopus came
further.
out of the river and grabbed Frodo, who was in danger for the 80th time?
Because they handled it. He didn't
Where was
have
his
to.
Yeah,
solution?
There was
He
9 of
didn't
them. They
have
were
to-
doing other
they-
things.
It got
Yeah.
handled.
Everybody was in it.
I don't
But
like
like he for longer with a sword hand to hand. He's skilled at
I don't
that.
like
Then
the
trying to
feel
use
of his
all of his magic up front, and then being exhausted, and then they have to carry his ass. He can't. He doesn't have the
We're gonna
energy.
agree to disagree on that.
Yeah, I think
No,
in
I
the
mean, but I'm-
sake
but I'm
of...
right. Physical energy of it, though.
And what are we disagreeing about?
But I'm right about that.
I mean,
She's
you
so
like, you
mad
don't
he-
like
But,
him. I
but,
get that,
but Shauna's seen everything, so I think we're gonna have to go with Shauna here.
Going off of this one movie that I saw, so that's all
Right.
I'm going off.
But you're standing pretty 10 toes for somebody who's only
I
seen
will.
one movie.
Until I see the next, based off of this, he wasn't shit.
So you're gonna have to watch the next one,
Yep.
and the Rings of Power, and the Hobbit.
Sure.
Okay, well, so if we're also going to watch the next one, I guess we have to rate this one. And Denise, I don't mean
Nothing
rate it
that's
in-
good.
I don't mean
An individual rating, and then once we've seen it all,
Right.
I think you come back and do a full rating because
Yeah,
it'll probably
right.
change.
So standalone
So,
rating,
Denise?
and
Someone
then
else can start.
no,
Yeah.
we're starting
Yeah.
with you so we can just get it.
What is this? 1 to 5, 1 to 10? Where are we doing this?
How do you mark it? What do you want? How do you want to use?
I don't know. This one was a
1 out of 5 rings. What do you give it?
God, I'd give this 2 rings. I don't, or two, let's say 2.5, because I feel like it is a setup. There's no way this gets 3, 4, 5 rings out of me, David. Do not make that.
No, I didn't expect it. I did not expect it.
2.5 rings. I guess the reference material that I understand the director, he didn't have much to work with. It wasn't his writing, so he did what he could. So maybe I guess with that I'll give it a 3. I guess I just don't like the books. I don't know.
Which is also possible.
Yeah,
It's
maybe
possible.
that's it. Because the whole story. I don't know.
Okay.
But I liked Gimli, and I liked Sean Bean. And yeah, outside of that, they were enough to bring it up to a 3 for me.
Okay. Isn't that weird? Because I was also going to say 3, but my 3 sounds way more positive than yours. I enjoyed
definitely.
it.
Positive 3.
I can go back down to a 2.5 if you want.
No, I mean, do what you
No.
got to do. I'm just saying, like I said,
1.25 for Sean Bean, 1.25 for Gimli. Bill the pony. I'll give him another half. So we'll say 2.5. No, did I say 2.5? 3?
You started
Was
2.5.
it
it felt like,
you
it
went
felt
up
like you
to
got
3.
back to 3.
2.8.
Yeah.
2.8, because Bill the pony was also a little cutie.
Like I said, I tried multiple times to watch the first half of this movie, and it just didn't fucking happen. The second half though, I enjoyed thoroughly. I mean, like for what it was, for not being brand new, and there's not a whole bunch of green and blue screens and also the shit thrown in your face. It's like you said, a lot of practical effects, which took some getting used to. But story wise, I mean, I saw where the story was going. I like what they did with it. I like the fact that and I guess you kind of do get that feeling where it's going to be parsed out through multiple movies. And I guess shooting all of it at once was a good way to guarantee that you could keep a schedule tight. But it felt like they were going somewhere else with it. It didn't feel like when it finally did actually end, it felt like, okay, I'm starting an adventure now. And so, like I said, I mean, I give it a 3, but it was
because David, you actually said something that it made me think when they were like, yeah, we're the Fellowships of the Ring, and now that felt like the end. And then, like you said, you looked, you hit the button on your remote and saw you were only halfway through. I feel like this movie could have ended like 5 times. I was like, what's happening?
When they called themselves a Fellowship of the Ring, I thought the movie was over, and I was like, okay, holy shit, thank God. And then I checked the time, and we're only like an hour 20 in. I was like, Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah, and it was weird because when it finally did end, I wasn't expecting it to end because there were at least 4 other points where I was like, oh, we're done. And so when he was looking out, I was like, wait, and the credits came on. I was like, what? We're done? So
yeah, like you were ready for more at that point.
Yeah.
So
Mariah, where you at?
know,
No, go ahead, Shauna.
oh, I was just gonna say that's how it's filmed like a video game. This is filmed like a book. There's ends of chapters, ends of prologues. There's ends like there's throughout. I will say that for sure. Like it's like this is the end of part 1. Now we're in part 2 of book 1. Like it definitely has that feeling. Sorry, Mariah, you go ahead with your rating.
With the book is in your hands though, like you see how big it is. Like back in 2001, maybe going into this, you didn't know it felt like this movie felt days long. And maybe like the first time you sit down to just like watch it, especially if you didn't read the books, you go in blind and you're just like, okay, cool, this is it. And it's like, nah, it felt like it lasted forever.
Yeah, and I think that's why I would give it a 3, because if you're watching it maybe for a first time or for me a long, it's been so long that it feels like there's it's just the intro, and then maybe that's why it felt slow. But then, like you said, it gets to a point where you're like, okay, now it feels like things are picking up, and then it ends, and you're like, wait, I want to continue watching what's going to be happening next. But overall, I think it's. I mean, it is what it is. But I think it's the beginning. Like I feel like my rating for 3 will be very different because we're kind of really now getting into the meat and potatoes of it. Like this is just like this intro that was kind of slow.
Yeah.
Yep.
So.
The first book, The Fellowship of the book, The Fellowship, long time to get started too, because it's the world building, it's the introducing you, it's and it's like you start a new fantasy, they start from scratch. Tolkien describes every flower on every mound. Like he is so and slow paced. He is so immersive in his writing that it takes for fucking ever to. So, like there is just world building that has to be established. Movie, and that is going to take time. Does it take more time in this movie? Sure, but do I also complain a little bit when they speed movies? Do I get frustrated because I'm like, what the fuck is this? What system is this? Who am I now? Like, yeah, I would probably complain about that too. So I don't know. It's hard for me to rate this. Do I give a rating or?
Yeah, you have to give a rating.
Yeah, as a standalone.
I feel like we're going to watch the other two, so we have
as a standalone.
I mean, and I think that's the thing about rating this as a standalone, because I think of Harry Potter movies like number 1. I mean, I can 5. Like that was just so great as a movie by itself because it just is the movie, and then we kind of get on to the next steps. But this is like it's not the full thing. It's just not. Like this little part that happens, and there's so much more to happen after. So
you're probably the only person that I know that would give that first movie a 5.
Oh, that's my favorite one. It's the first one I ever watched in 5th grade. It's just like the one that sucked me in. So I love that movie.
We can't.
But
Harry Potter.
Another time.
That was just
Shauna wasn't going to stop you because she didn't want to give a rating.
No, and
I think she would talk about Harry Potter too.
Well, in terms of Harry Potter movies, the first movie is 100% the most faithful to the book. So if you were going to like is my favorite adaptation, then that makes sense because the book is the shortest movie. As a standalone, yeah, maybe a 3. Just like Mariah just finished saying, this is an introduction to the world. This is an introduction to the journey. This was not supposed to be a complete like film in and of itself. It's the established foundation of the journey to come for all of the members of the Fellowship. So I would give it a 3, I guess. But it's hard.
So
it's hard
around the same area.
So we're all in the same place. Denise, you more violently than the rest of us, but yeah.
I got there. When I thought of Bill the Pony's acting, it brought me up to you guys.
Shauna, for giving it a 3, you didn't really talk shit about it with the rest of us.
I know. I thought you would give it like a 4 or higher.
No. I hear all of the things that you were saying, and they're valid. Like this movie, when I was at the beginning, I was also watching the extended editions. There's a lot more stuff going on in the beginning of the movie, but it also it felt really. I don't know. It immediately hit me that I'm so used to watching shows that are shot entirely on. That seeing a movie that's done so practically, it just stands out to me now as being practical effects. Like everything in Hobbit, so that it makes the actors look smaller, but they're all real props. So that it has like a kind of nostalgia to it, but it's of a time, you know.
There it goes.
So every time
it's not a taping with Mariah if we don't have somebody driving by.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm excited for everybody to watch the next 2 movies. I'm excited about that. I'm excited for properties to continue. I really like the Wing. I don't think I'll get any of you to watch the Hobbit movies, and I don't think it's really a good use of our time. But the Lord of the Rings, if we can commit to that, I'm happy.
You won't get me to watch The Hobbit after you talk shit about it the way you did. So
The Hobbit.
Yeah.
There's multiple. There's too many. But
well, not just that, but you had comments on them, and I won't be watching.
Okay, that's fair.
Do we get more Gollum?
But like, there's too many.
You get the other 2 movies.
I wanted more Gollum. He comes. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
There's a game coming out for him.
My boy Andy Serkis.
And I think
For
Eric
sure.
was saying like that's like the one. There's no like origin story movie about him, is there?
Gollum. So
Yeah.
is footage of it, and I can't remember if it's only in the extended edition, but you do get to see like Smeagol backstory and
Okay.
remember what you all would see if you're not watching the extended edition. But you do get
Well,
to
you're
see
gonna have to
like
imagine it because I ain't
Smeagol,
watching the extended.
and you do get to see Andy Serkis like of the ring for Smeagol.
He's gonna be in DC next or in June. I'm excited to
Andy
see him.
Serkis?
Yeah, for Awesome Con. Yeah.
Yeah,
Andy Serkis.
hopefully I get to
Yeah.
see him. Yeah.
Cool.
Well,
All right.
for our discussion, we will the Two Towers and the Return of the King. So I guess I'm glad I answered your questions about whether or not they get back together. I
Oh, no,
artfully
somebody
avoided
did.
that one.
Somebody answered it. No, somebody answered it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mariah told me
Told you what?
that the band gets
That's-
back together.
Well, I do know that Legolas is in the later movies because I also was forced to watch those with my neighbor.
Yeah, she
who had Orlando
about
Bloom
Legolas
posters
being
and
around.
everywhere. Yeah, I don't know about the whole band. I just know that he
Well,
specifically
we know Sean Bean doesn't
comes
rest in
back.
peace. R.I.P.
no.
I'd pour something out if I had it, but I drink.
Yeah, they did him, and they made sure about that. God damn!
That was the longest death scene.
Didn't he get shot in the lung like twice with that? Like, I mean, 2 separate arrows into the lung, and he gave a very passionate speech. I
Oh,
was
he
like,
got lit.
how are you talking right now?
I would have followed you to the end. Well, okay.
Did you know that they actually had scene twice so that they could get close-ups of each for lunch in between? I don't know how they would have given such moving performances after breaking for lunch. I don't know. That to me seems funny.
Well, they're getting paid to, shouldn't they?
Yeah, that energy.
Yeah,
Or Sean Bean fucking hiking up the mountain in full costume so he didn't have to take a helicopter.
Yeah,
Crazy.
that's crazy.
Every
know what
day,
it
Sean Bean
She
was
sent a clip. Yeah.
Yeah, he was afraid of helicopters.
doesn't like
so that
heights.
scene. So yeah, that scene where they're up on the mountain and like they're snowing and they're going up and Frodo
Yeah.
picks up this. It's a big scene here. And for like the couple of weeks coming up on that mountain, all the rest of the cast and crew was being flown in on helicopters. No, and he just hiked his ass up there every day in full.
I don't know. I hope he has a key to his city. He deserves it.
where's his city? Where's he? Is he?
I don't know. I'm looking it
He's
up.
probably.
right now.
Is he probably British? I don't know.
Yeah, he's an English actor, but he deserves it. Poor little. Oh. Yeah.
Well,
All right. Well, we told everyone. So I guess we don't need to do that again. Thanks for sticking around. If you made it this far, talking Fellowship of the Ring. Stay tuned for the of our Lord of the Rings little mini series that we're doing.
and if you're listening to this and you didn't watch it, you're probably going to miss out on some things because I'm sure a little bit will get edited out, and then the facial expressions of us talking about stuff is so much better. So make sure that you follow us on YouTube and Facebook. I was able to post a YouTube link on Facebook. So if you got one of those,
Awesome.
Uh-oh.
follow us, and Twitch. So
Yes.
watch us
Yeah,
live.
figuring it all out.
Get
Yeah.
the behind the scenes.
Because we take questions live.
This Facebook thing is.
We
shocking
will.
to me. I cannot believe people still use that.
Facebook?
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's
it's
Yeah.
crazy.
beyond that
Yeah.
one. All right. Well, thanks
All
all
right.
for joining us. See you next time.
Bye.
I wish we could say bye in Elvish. Shauna, do you want to say bye in Elvish?
No, but I did. I wrote stuff in Elvish. So I used to know how to write it.
No, you did off the top of your head.
No, sorry.
Nope. Damn. All right.
We'll look it up for the next
Yeah, I'll say
one.
next time we got it.
That was a missed opportunity. All right.
Oh, God.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.